We're Slikrok Productions. I'm Jake. This is Kurt. And we want to talk about our experience with the Universal build.
Yeah, so it's been a year and 2 months, I think,
Yeah,
since
right
we started
about that.
out on this. And really, the Universal build project started long before that. The idea started a long time before that. And this came about back in the early days of Slikrok. We were building big tire cars. We were building portal cars, trying to build more capable rock crawlers. And we were breaking a lot of shit.
Yes, we were.
We were breaking everything. Axles were big. Belts were huge.
Yep. Even A-arms, radius rods.
Yep, we were cracking or breaking a lot of suspension components, but really the whole car wasn't really taking what we were throwing out of it.
Right.
And then we got into safety issues.
Yeah.
There was nothing scarier than flying in between trails in Moab on the highway at 50, 60 miles an hour.
White knuckle.
Freaked out, wondering if you're
steering
going to
wheel.
die. And so as the parts kept getting better and we kept finding better alternatives, it kind of dawned into us that we were really dialing in on rock crawlers. I mean,
Yeah.
our name is Slikrok. I mean, we're rock crawlers. That's kind of our bread and butter. But we also like dune riding. We like trail riding. And we were building these cars, and we were focused so hard on making them articulate and making them handle. And that was translating to the trail fine, but it wasn't translating to everything else as well. So Universal Project started because we wanted it to be universal.
Yeah.
We wanted to be able to bolt on street tires, bolt on paddles, go to the dunes, whatever
As
we
much
wanted
as we
to do.
love rock crawling, we like mountain riding. We like going to the sand dunes.
Yeah, a little more diversity.
Yeah.
Right. So that was the birth of this project here. This was our universal build, our first one, and we chose Super ATV to do this build with, and we chose them for a reason, because we were budget driven.
Right.
So the real dollar amount, if you climb back into our archives, we were between $10,000 and $15,000 per car to get them to the point where we felt comfortable and they were getting reliable. Which, although that was great that we were getting to that point, it was really damn expensive, and it's really hard to promote. And on top of that, there was a lot of fear factors on portals.
Yeah.
It's like, and we had the same experience.
Well, it's just because there was a lot of unknown at the time.
It was a lot of unknown. It was a big investment.
Mm-hmm.
Your car gets bigger. We didn't know how much money you were going to have to throw at it to get it to handle it properly. And so there was a lot of big questions out there. And we had the same ones. And we started going down the wallet trail
Right.
and figuring this out. And when we were getting it figured out, the thing that, so prior to the Universal build, Super ATV had been sponsoring us for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And their parts, they had, about the time we engaged with Super ATV, they were turning a corner.
Right.
So I remember the first time you and I flew out to Indiana, we were in a little bit of an awe. It wasn't what we were expecting. We had expectations
not at
going
all.
in there, and we were expecting a little bit of this Walmart churn. And to talk a little bit of shit about Super ATV, years ago when we were buying their parts, they weren't holding up. And they grew into being the biggest parts supplier, aftermarket parts supplier in the UTV industry. And when we went out there, what we learned the very first time we were out there, the owner sat down with us. He actually showed us the facility. They took the time, the VP, all of our reps, and these guys were investing a huge amount of money in R&D equipment to be able to test their own parts. And they were really interested in improving the quality of what they were building.
Right.
And the farther that we went down this road with these guys, the more everything kind of changed. And I know you guys know that we're big fans of Super ATV, but it's because of a couple of reasons. It isn't because of a dollar amount. It's because of what these guys do, who they are, and their moral belief structure that they incorporate into their business. These guys want to be the best. They want to be the least expensive. They want to be the most affordable.
Yeah.
And they want to have products out there that they can lifetime warranty. And whether or not you like Super ATV is not as much my concern as to whether or not you know the truth about Super ATV. Because we all had bad experiences years ago. Most of us did that were buying a lot of parts.
But it really feels, from them to now, like a completely different company.
Completely different.
Yeah.
And that's my whole point of that is it's like we built the Universal platform with Super ATV. Mm-hmm. This is the toughest car on the planet, I personally believe. The stuff we have done to this car.
Let's dive into that for a minute.
All right.
So we started the Universal build about, we said what, a year, 2 months ago?
Yeah, I think 14 months ago.
How many miles have been put on it?
2,200.
Okay. Where where have we seen faults?
It hasn't failed.
Not
So
one place.
This car has literally been 15 feet in the air multiple times at the dunes.
Oh, I remember that day. You
Yeah.
remember that?
Yeah, like it was 12 minutes ago.
Sitting in that thing, looking at the hill.
Yeah, we were like Thelma and Louise in there, wondering if we were going to die. Now, when we got this thing done, the first thing we did was took it rock crawling. And we got it all set up, and it rock crawled really well. I mean, I was in love with this car in that world. The next thing we did was we took it to the dunes, and we put 32-inch paddles in this car, and we were sitting down at the bottom of a step-up jump, just freaked out. And the first time we blasted this thing, I was scared to death. I was worried.
We're looking at each other.
Yeah.
We're really going to do this.
Yeah, and about the 15th time we jumped this car, the confidence that it inspired in us, we hit the whoops in this car multiple times at 60 plus miles an hour.
Yeah.
And this thing has taken everything we've thrown at it. This car has been on its top, it's been on its side, it's been wrecked, it's been beat, it's tackled every trail with honor.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing has taken some serious abuse. And we pulled this car apart a month and a half ago, because we wanted to change the direction in this car. And when we took all the components off, we didn't do any maintenance on anything. We never, I mean, the motor, air filter,
Right,
the
outside
drivetrain.
of the drivetrain.
But suspension-wise, we never changed oil in the portals.
No.
We never greased anything on it. We let it be because we wanted it to go
We wanted to see if
until it failed.
Right.
And this car never failed us.
No.
And when we took this car apart, there was one bent bolt in an upper radius rod in the back, and we didn't even know it was bent. It was just bananaed a little bit. But and it was going to fail at some point.
Yeah.
But nothing has failed in this car.
Except we did it did break about once.
It did. It broke an OEM belt out on the highway.
Yeah.
And we replaced that with a G-Boost belt, and we haven't had a problem since.
Yeah.
This has been a very reliable piece, and it has been tough as hell.
It has, and it's kind of remarkable for what it's been through.
Absolutely.
You know, outside of some cosmetic paint scratches, some dings and things.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
Zero.
it's got a few battle scars on it, but nothing
But
is
chicks
broke.
dig those.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what they say, or here. But nothing is broke on this car. It's been everything we hoped it was going to be. In my book, the Universal Platform has been a success. And furthermore, we get a lot of feedback from a lot of our followers out there, a lot of our fans out there, and we really appreciate that because that really puts into context what we do. And when you guys communicate back, there's a lot of guys out there running the Universal build. There's a lot of guys building cars like we were building.
Yep.
And putting the R&D time into it and making sure everything works is what inspires confidence in us so we can have our integrity in what we recommend. And I believe that Super ATV has leveled up so far in the last few years that I feel very confident in doing these kind of projects with them.
Okay. So that was my next question with you. So it's now sitting on 6-inch portals.
Right.
We've put the Super ATV long travel kit on, which is +6 overall.
6, right.
And it's now sitting
85
inches wide.
85 inches wide with 0 offset wheels.
And you feel Super ATV is still the company to continue down this pathway?
Absolutely. So the Universal Platform for the last year has been flawless. The parts have held up, and it's affordable. I mean, and let's talk about the affordability for a minute, because that's really what chimes us in. There is other suspension kits that we're running that are phenomenal. There's a lot of great companies out there. But the reason we did this with the Universal Build was because our main goal was budget.
Right.
It had to be tough, it had to be reliable, and it had to be affordable. And the affordability part is hard. That's a lot of components.
Yeah.
And so once again, when we started this, our cars were $10,000 to $15,000 on top of the purchase of the car. That's not cages, doors, stereos, anything.
No,
That's
suspension.
just in what it takes to get the whole portals. And it's really hard to recommend for people to build these kind of cars when you're going to get into your car. You know, by the time you're done, especially if you're going to go over the top, because obviously we recommend cages, we recommend safety equipment. By the time you get done with that and you customize your car, you're $40,000-$50,000 into a UTV.
Yeah.
That's pretty hard to stand there with a straight face and be like, "Oh, buy this," you know. that's a lot of money. So that's why we went down this road with Super ATV. Their parts held up. We beat the living hell out of them. Nothing breaks, and they're affordable. So this is A-arms, trailing arms. This is radius rods, tie rod ends, reinforcement plate, axles, and portals.
Yeah.
$5,000.
Basically, everything suspension outside of wheels and tires.
Yeah, you can build a portal car outside of wheels and tires for $5,000.
Yeah.
That's why we went down this road, and they have exceeded all of our expectations. This car is walking, talking proof of what you can build for $5,000.
Yeah.
And we have a billion videos out there. We have all the evidence out there. This car has taken a beat down, and it's standing here pretty and tall still.
She is pretty.
She is. It's still one of my favorites. I might be a little partial, but at the end of the day, that was the goal. So for phase 2 of this, we're not going to let go of the universal platform. If you're building trail riders and rock crawler cars, 35s is kind of the realm you want to play in.
Right.
But we also know, I don't want to let too much out of the bag and piss off all of our reps out there, but we know that the 35-inch tire game is kind of where we're going.
Yeah, it's going to become the standard.
Yeah, and we've been doing that for a long time now. And so, although I want to stay playing in that world, I want to level that up too. And for all you South guys out there, you mud guys, this is no new world to you guys. We know this. You guys have been doing 6-inch portals, 8-inch portals, 40+ inch tires. You guys have been building monster truck badass machines down
They're
in
so
your park.
cool. It's so fun to watch.
Yeah, and it's like, I know when you guys see this, you're like, 40s? Whatever, you know. But in our world, this is a big deal, you know. You just don't see that around here. Our trails are different. Our terrain's different. And
we set them up a lot differently.
Absolutely. I'm taking nothing away from those guys. They built some killer shit down there. And we're hoping to get down there and play in the mud with you guys in the near future. We want to definitely do that. But the way we set up our cars is a little bit different. Our cars have to articulate. The geometry has to be close to stock because you can't.
It's vital to be able to tuck a tire and keep the other tires planted on the ground.
Yeah. The rock crawler world and the mud world, although the cars look a bit similar, you guys set up your cars a lot different. We set up our cars. It's 2 different riding styles. But in order to get a car to rock crawl on 40s, to get a Razor to rock crawl on 40s, this is a little bit different game.
Comes down to what you said, geometry.
Yeah. And so, and I don't know that we're going to be done at 40s. So the goal with this car currently is going to be long travel kits, 40-inch tires, rock crawler tires on it. It's going to be rear wheel steer.
Yep.
I'm hoping our rear steer kit is out in the next month or 2. We're getting really close on that. And that's going to be a game changer for a lot of guys out there.
It's going to be cool.
And for our Midwest guys out there, this stuff isn't practical. We know that. We talk to a lot of guys out there. We've been out there. The trails are tight. 85-inch cars are just not a doable thing for a lot of trails out there. We understand that. We appreciate it. But rear wheel steer will probably be a game changer for a lot of those guys too. In 4-seaters, longer cars, just the turning radius and the maneuverability capability should be a huge
just
deal.
makes
across
more
the board.
agile.
Absolutely. And the show guys are going to gobble that up.
I know. Come crab walking.
Yeah, crab
into
walking
something.
in. Yeah, it's like, please. So I want to play in that world as well. But I believe Super ATV is the company to go down this road with. To answer your question,
Cool.
They have exceeded our expectations so far. I have no reason to believe they won't do so as we move forward in the future. And then on top of that, I've got a soft spot for the owner of that company and the people who run that company. And this is no bullshit. When Jake and I go out there, we sit down at a round table and the owner, the VP, all of our reps, everybody comes in with a pad and a paper and they're as humble as can be and they want to know our experiences, what we're breaking, what our RDs are, what if there's anywhere they can
Because their number
improve.
one goal is how can they improve.
Yeah, and it's like if everybody out there knew what we knew, I believe they would all feel the same. It's really easy to boycott and bandwagon. We have a lot of sponsors out there, and we have a lot of companies that we're very fond of, and it's just kind of one of those deals, and it aggravates the hell out of me. Everybody knows where I stand with the hands down bullshit and the bandwagon stuff. There are so many good companies out there. There's a lot of great parts out there, but it is not applicable across the board. When we answer thousands of questions a month, we have a lot of people who reach out to us, and there is no umbrella for everybody. The universal platform doesn't work for everybody.
No.
Parts don't work for everybody. Budget comes into play with everything.
It does.
And so when we're answering questions, we have to have all the knowledge, and we want to give honest feedback to folks out there that are building cars so you're not spending your money twice. That is what Slikrok does. That has been our goal all the way through. And when we build big, gaudy, obnoxious cars like this, when we're running ball joints and tie rod ends and axles and belts and all the parts that we put in these cars, when they're holding up to this,
Yeah.
We feel very confident when we're recommending parts out to the public. We can have confidence in the parts that we're testing. And this is about all companies when it comes down to that.
Right.
But when it comes down to building stuff on this caliber on a budget and putting kits together, the reason we went with Super ATV because we were budget driven. And that is, they gave up margins in this kit to
make it
hit
happen.
our budget mark.
Yeah.
We gave them a dollar amount where we wanted to be, and they saw it through. They went the extra mile. They built tough stuff, and they hit our budget mark. And that speaks volumes about them as a company, and it speaks volumes about what their goals are and what they're trying to do in this industry.
Yeah.
And I have no doubt that over the next few steps, the next kits that we do, the next builds that we do, they will meet and exceed those expectations as well. I feel
100%.
confident in that. And so we're going to take some of these cars up. We're going to do some next level bullshit to this. And I'm pretty sure when you see cars on 40s that are flying 15 feet in the air and rock crawling, this is going to be a crazy build. We're going to take it to the extreme, and then we're going to push it farther. So stay tuned for the next videos because we're going to car up.